Pops in a pod. Pops in a pod.
Hey everyone, welcome to Pops in a Pod. Nadir Pop here.
And Peter Pop.
Peter, it's March 2022, and you know that special day that comes in March.
Yeah, and if you haven't, I'm sure there are X number of advertisers that have already targeted us and our listeners with advertisements over one special day in a year, right?
Exactly, which is the weird part, right? That when we all say that every day has to be celebrated, and well, you know what I'm talking about. We are talking about Women's Day.
Yeah, it's Women's Day all over again. I can't believe it. Just seems like a few weeks ago that we were talking to our guests about Women's Day, right?
You're right, Peter. We had such an engaging conversation with Priya Krishnan last year on women in the workforce and the realities. And she just gave us such a great insight, or rather, multiple insights into it, right? Because she's worked in India and then she shifted to the US. So she has both these perspectives, and wonderful, wonderful conversation. So I would urge everyone here to listen to that episode, which is episode number 67, Women in Workforce, conversation with Priya Krishnan. We have the link in the show notes.
But Nadir, this time around, I thought let's do something different, right? Everyone's talking about Web3, Web 3.0, and we came across our guest, Aparna Acharekar, who's the co founder of Eve World, which is a Web3 platform. And she just broke it down so easy for us, right? I mean, jargon free, it was so easy to understand.
I completely agree because just today I was listening to one jingle or one ad on the radio where there were these sound bites of people saying, "Oh, NFT this and blockchain that," and then this one host comes in and says, "Do you know what NFT is, or do you know what blockchain is, or do you know what Web 3.0 is?" And everyone just heard of these things and they assumed that they know it, but they had no idea. So in a way, I'm really glad we had this lovely conversation with Aparna Achrekar and the importance and the need for a women centric Web 3.0 social network.
All right, let's dive straight into our chat. Hi, Aparna. Thanks so much for joining us on Pops in a Pod today.
Hi, Peter. Hi, Nader. It's so wonderful to meet the two dads who have been making waves throughout, and two dads that all moms and dads are talking about. So I'm so happy to be with you today.
Thanks so much, Aparna. We really wish that more and more parents sort of really do consider this platform from a dad standpoint. But really appreciate that you're calling us out. So thank you for that.
Thank you. I mean, you're quite an inspiration to many. So I'm happy. I'm happy that I am here chatting with you.
One of the reasons a lot of people will wonder, and we talked in the introduction about this, is why are two dads talking about something like Women's Day, right? And in the past couple of years, we've featured multiple entrepreneurs. And like we introduced you in the introduction, you're taking this jump from journalist and working in content to entrepreneur. Here's your space. Tell us about how that jump happened and tell us about Eve.world.
Peter, the jump happened quite organically. I have been a media person for over 20 years now, have been part of the digital transformation since 2006, and I've made sure that I've transformed myself at every stage, upskilled myself so that I knew I could be part of the tech ecosystem even if I was not a technology person. So I was always happy to be a tech person and not purely a content person, and that really helped me take this leap to entrepreneurship. um, Entrepreneurship didn't happen that easily. on becoming an entrepreneur after 20 years of working in a corporate setup is never easy, because you're thinking about what are going to be the uncertainties. Really, are you going to earn as much? Are you okay with not earning as much as what you were earning earlier? And so many things that really come with it. But what really made sure that I was sure I wanted to do this was the fact that what we are set out to do has a mission, has a purpose behind it, and it's a much larger purpose than just building a business. It is a purpose that affects, or that creates value for every woman out there, including me. To all of my friends, to all of my sisters, to all of my young nieces, to all the daughters, and to everyone out there, this is a purpose that can really make a difference in their lives. And really, that's why the decision to start something like this, or to get into something like this, was much more more purposeful and more spiritual in that sense than really transactional, saying, okay, this, I should start a new phase in my life, or start a new look at my career any differently. Which is where really eWorld came from. And eWorld platform is the company name. That's not the brand name of the platform that we will launch. In fact, I'll be very happy to come back again and tell you more about really the brand name and what the brand ethos is, right? Because the brand name derives its strength and its meaning from really what we stand for. And when we reveal that to you, believe me, that's going to be another exciting day. But really, what eWorld platform is a Web3 based community platform built exclusively for women. And why is it Web3? And really, what are those pillars of Web3 that we are built on? It's community, consensus, and continual ownership, right? And this is what everyone who comes, either joins a community on the platform or creates her own community on the platform, will experience. We seek to build a positive and a valuable digital experience for women worldwide. So, therefore, this is all about community and the empowerment of each member within it. We are a free, safe, and a responsible space. So, the idea is to be able to create a space that bonds young girls and women through interest based micro communities. So, say you're an entrepreneur, or say you're a subject matter expert, you're an educationist, and there is that knowledge that you have that you would like to share with others, right? What you need is a platform, or you're a creator, you're a performing artist, or you're simply someone who wants to connect with other women. This is a platform where you can come together and form your own community. A community that you can engage, that you can nurture. So, from the Web 2 world, which is more an influencer and a follower, right? And when I say an influencer and a follower, there is somewhere an imbalance in the power, right? An influencer influences and a follower follows. But when a community happens, we are all equals, right? We could be a peer to peer community, which is just a gang of girls, or we could be a community that's based around or formed by a subject matter experts whose knowledge, whose energy is what we all tap into. At the same time, we all interact with each other as peers. So suddenly the power imbalance all becomes equal. So in a community, everybody is essentially equal, right? It's community, it's consensual, and each one of us has ownership in a community, pretty much like there is in real life. So that's really what we are out to create, a safe virtual space where women will not be trolled, where each one can express her opinion very freely, where each one has those means where she can come connect with each other. And believe me, women should know that our network is always our net worth, right? I mean, we tap into our network every time we need anything, whether it's our friends, whether it's our family, whether it's our colleagues. And this really is a space where you can have friends just beyond your real life circle, have a lot of friends, have a lot of women from many different walks of life from whom you can learn. Through the means, you can also earn, you can upskill, you can start a business, many different things. I'd like to tell you more about that as we go.
Aparna, it's very interesting that you mentioned that today's social media. Obviously, I really liked how you broke it down. Influencers, followers, follow, but the community is more inclusive, right? There are so many things happening when you are part of the community. Everyone's trying to up each other and help each other. In the recent news, we've obviously heard powerful stories of women leaders like Nika's founder Falguni Nair. You had Lina Nair, who became the global CEO of Chanel, Arundhati Bhattacharya, who's the chairperson and CEO of Salesforce India. Somebody like yourself, Aparna, who's getting into this thing. Our wives, Peter and my wife, they keep telling us this, that it is a great time to be a woman today. Do you think that emotion also lends to what you're doing today? Wanted to understand your views on that.
And I love what your wives say. It's a great time to be a woman today. And I would say it has always been the greatest time to be a woman today. It's just that we never really realized all our potential, right, as individuals. And today, because there are means like these, there is Web 2 that we currently live in, there is Web 3, which is the future, right? And there are platforms like eWorld, which are so passionately working for every woman there. Yes, this is definitely the best time to be a woman. There is so much that technology can enable when it comes to bringing women together, right? For us to be able to share our thoughts, to express what we want to ask the kind of questions we could never ask, right? I mean, so many questions around our health, hygiene, maybe relationships, are questions we could never really speak to freely, even to our closest friends, right? It's because you're always judged. I mean, unfortunately, if you were going through a tough time in your relationship and you wanted somebody to confide into, it could never always have been a close friend, because the friend herself or himself could really judge what was happening in that relationship, right? Because that person had a point of view. And going to a therapist or going to a counselor was possibly one of the last things. Today, when you're on a medium which gives you access to peers as well as to experts, this really is empowering, because it helps everyone, each one of us as individuals, to be able to take better informed decisions for ourselves, right? Nobody is, these are all guiding forces, these are all directions that you can take. Therapists, counselors can give you direction, but you have to make those choices. What is really happening here is you're getting empowered to make those choices. You're getting the knowledge, you're getting the information, the resources, the support to make those informed decisions for yourselves. And yes, therefore proven, best time to be a woman today.
So, I'm so glad that you said that. But just to take a few steps back, right? I wanted to understand that, you've talked about how technology has really helped women and kind of empowered them. But why a need for just, say, a woman centric platform itself, right? Because you've got so many social media platforms already existing. So, if you could just kind of take us through some of the insights and some of the research that you've done so far, that'll be great.
One thing, that this insight that we must have a platform, or there is a consumer need for a platform that is exclusively for women. And Peter and Nadir, I must tell you that as we grow in our journey, we intend to be more inclusive and include other genders also in this journey. But really, why solve this for women today? Because while I do agree that yes, this is the best time to be a woman, not everybody would have the means to be able to achieve what they are set out to achieve, right? So we've been speaking to so many young girls and women across the length and breadth of the country. And when we categorized and when we understood really what were those things that everybody was looking for, right, we came up with three pillars. There were three clear pillars that emerged from all of these discussions. Everyone was seeking what her identity was, right? Everyone wanted to find an answer to who am I? Maybe that eternal question, but really, who am I? Because, many times as young girls, as women, we are defined by who, which family we were born into, who we married, right? Who we are mothers of, right? And many other relationships. And while all of these bonds and relationships are very important for us, really, who am I? What do I want to do? What do I want to be known as? I definitely want to be known as a mother, and I'm very happy to be the daughter of a beautiful, of a wonderful family, and I have a great spouse, and I have great in-laws, and I have a great support system. But really, then who am I? What is it that I want to do? What will make me as an individual, as a person, happy? And this is a quest that each one of us as individuals has, right? And therefore, all the more pronounced when this is with young girls, because even today many decisions for girls and for women are taken by the rest of the family, right? And sometimes, I mean, it's the family's intent, because they think that okay, it's the right thing for the girls and things like that. That really leaves many people, many girls, many women feel suffocated. So really, a platform like this can give every girl that opportunity to really find that answer for herself of what really is her identity, what does she want to do. The second big pillar that emerged was independence. Really, what does independence mean, right? Independence of thought, independence of action, independence of simply being able to take decisions for myself. And to be able to take good decisions for yourself, you have to be empowered with knowledge, information, resources, and support. And therefore, a platform like this can help you seek that independence for yourself. It could be simply in any walk of life, right? It could be simply be to be able to decide what career path do you want to take, whether or not this is a relationship you want to pursue, whether you want to change any career path, whether it's any decision that involves you, your family, your children. We all need resources and support when it comes to this. So really, independence comes when you are empowered with information, when you have that resource, and when you have that support. The third pillar is inclusion, right? To be able to ask for that right to be included, you should first know and understand it. To be able to ask for inclusion, right, or to be able to stand up for yourself, you need to have that confidence. And really, what are we trying to do? We're trying to make sure that identity, independence, and inclusion are the three pillars, three key things that all young girls and women want, that you can make available through a platform like this.
It's very interesting what you said, Aparna, because the kind of dialogue today that is required, right, for a very women centric platform. You spoke about how women can talk about relationships and gender neutrality, work, and getting the kind of right guidance. But because there is so much of content that is going to be floating around on the eve world universe, are there any specific guidelines that you are drafting in terms of how do you moderate this kind of conversation? Because we all know today what social media is all about. You did mention about trolling as well. So what are the kind of guidelines that you have considered for something like this?
The moderation on the platform is completely powered by AI, right? So a lot of abusive or anything that harms the other person emotionally, right, is taken care of at that stage also. One of the big pillars on which we are built is being a responsible social medium. How do you make sure that you are a platform that empowers, encourages, and motivates, and does not send anyone down the rabbit hole of depression, or the rabbit hole of thinking that everyone's life is happier than me, everyone looks beautiful than me, everyone has the perfect skin, the perfect vacation, the perfect house, and the perfect spouse, right? How do you make sure that the recommendations on the platform, or what how you are moderating the platform, is all taken care of by AI? There are also human layers, plus everyone who creates her community. So, a subject matter expert, or a performing artist, or a creator, or anyone who comes and creates her community actually has the highest authority in that community to be able to moderate that community herself. Right? So, she is able to, they have to follow all the rules already on the community, they have to follow all the rules that the platform has set as its moderation guidelines or community guidelines. At the same time, they can even set their own rules when it comes to a community, right? Because every community will have differing rules. Some community may allow usage of some words, because sometimes some words can just really free up your mind, and some words may not be acceptable. What is definitely not acceptable across the platform is causing any sort of emotional or mental harm to anybody, and because that is one thing that we must respect and for each other. So that's how this is taken care of, very well thought through, because web 2 has left such a bad taste in the mouth for so many of us, that web 3 is exactly built on these principles of how can we not harm each other.
Wow, that sounds really interesting because, while you talk about it, right, as guys, Nader and me are completely unaware to a whole different side of the internet, right? And I have to be honest, like I keep saying this, the first time I came across it, I was shocked because, like, how did I completely miss this? So I'm really glad that, as a platform, y'all are tackling this head first. Having said that, right, you talked about the Eve creator program that you'll have. Could you share a bit more information about it? Because I believe currently you're onboarding creators. So for those listening, it would be really helpful if you could share some more information and what they can do through the platform.
Yes, and I'm so happy you asked that, because the Eve World Community Creator Program is a program for all those fantastic, whether they are content creators, subject matter experts, domain experts, performing artists. It's This is an open invitation to all those fantastic women out there to come and learn about what Web3 is and how Web3 facilitates the formation of communities. Really, how do you build a community, engage a community, and nurture a community while making sure that what you are set out to do is fulfilled? Whether it is about engaging with members in your community, or whether it is about monetizing this community, because for most of us the end goal, and while of course each one of us has a mission and a purpose that we want to achieve with everything that we do, the end goal for many of us is monetization. And why should it not? Why can't your passion become your sustainable profession? The whole idea is, how can you empower women to turn what they are really passionate about and make that into their profession? Once you're on the platform, and as part of the program, we help you and mentor you into learning the basics of web3 and communities. Your next stage is when you unlock credits that you can use to promote yourself on platform, off platform. The third stage is actually when we help you with many engagement tactics to start engaging your community. And the final leg is to teach you, to take you through how can you monetize in the decentralized economy, right? What we're essentially creating also is a social token and a virtuous circular economy, where community members can engage with subject matter experts and what they earn every time there is a virtuous engagement is a social token, right? I mean, imagine this as points in the web 2 world. You earn social tokens, and these social tokens then can be traded for various aspects or various things that you can do, various activities that you can do on the platform. Women who So this is an invite only program. Women who make the cut here will be mentored by some of the best experts in the industry, who will teach them, who will mentor them, guide them into creating sustainable communities based on web3 principles of web3, and really how they can start their monetization into the web3 game, right? So the whole idea is, why should women always be the second ones to adopt a technology, or the second ones to, why should they always be followers and, the other gender leading, right? I mean, I've seen some advertising that currently happens around talking about blockchain and crypto, and I see only males as as models talking there. There's even like a very popular male who actually speaks street lingo, right? Something that really alienates most women, right? The entire idea with Eve World is we want every woman, we want every young girl to be at the cutting edge of technology, right? We want them to adopt this as soon as the rest of the world or anyone else adopt this. We have to, not just in India but in all parts of the world, be at par with what is happening in technology. And that's the only endeavor that the platform has. And what we're therefore creating is an enabler platform, right? You come make the best use of it. You can be an educationist, you can be a therapist, you can be a counselor, a fitness expert, a performer, a comedian, a writer. Come here, explore what this is all about. This is your place to start off your journey in Web3, which is not even tomorrow. It has already arrived today, and you better be there.
Aparna, it's so interesting that you said that women, for whatever reason, right, are always second to adopt technology, and it is kind of taken over by men, and you want to change. And I think that's wonderful, because ideas can come from anyone, from anywhere, and this is something that Peter and I are, believe in this philosophy. But since you spoke about access, right, now we all know that technology as a whole is something that is easily accessible by people living in the metros. But would you how would you ensure that a platform like Eve World would also reach out to a very high population of women who live outside the metros?
all that one needs all that one needs to be on this app and on this platform is a smartphone and an internet connection, right? Let's not confuse Web3 with any fancy technology, or let the technology be there, but as commoners, as just as those who want to start our communities or be part of any community, we really don't have to worry about the technology behind it, right? We can leave it to those who are building this technology for us. All that you're going to need is simply a phone and an internet, right? And the good intent to become part of a community. And community, Peter, is always give and take, right? So the more you give is the more you take from the community, because those really are the building principles of any community, right? You give more, you share more, you talk more, you're going to make many more friends who will bring value to you. So you really don't need, I mean, the whole question of access or whether or not I mean, we can pull up some numbers and see what really the percentage of penetration in metros, non-metros, and villages is of smartphones among women, and you will find that this really is a very encouraging number, and one that is growing every day. The next growth is coming from in India is coming from tier 2, tier 3, and it's largely coming from women, right? It's largely coming from women in those cities, and this is a place where each one of us, without the barrier of language, without the barrier of being having always to look beautiful on camera or always to be camera ready. In fact, we have a section where you can leave your comments as audio, so there really is no worry about what you type, how much you type, is your spelling right, are you looking right, or anything like that. Just leave your comment on audio and participate in a discussion. Everything that needs to be eased to be able to make this accessible to anyone who is a starter or anyone who is a pro. The idea is come, be here, experience, give and take, give and create, right? Because those are the defining principles of any community. This is very unlike, if I may, at the sound of repeating at the cost of repeating myself, this is not an influencer and a follower relationship, right? In an influencer and a follower relationship, an influencer is expected to keep giving, and a follower is may or may not be expected to give back anything. In a community, because we are all equals and because we all need to collectively thrive, we have to always keep giving and receiving.
So here's an interesting thing, right? And you said at the start that you're looking at being more inclusive, so you don't want it just to be a women's platform. At all these things that you're saying, you must have noticed Nader and I with big smiles on our face. So since you are still kind of putting together the roadmap for the launch and things like that, do you foresee a time where there will be men on there, maybe a popsinapod community that we can grow on Eve World?
Yes, Pops in a Pod may eventually, at some point in time, definitely get a very respectable place on eWorld and in the community, because there are many women and men who take inspiration from what you do. And again, the construct is not really ready today, but you may be allowed to join certain communities and you may be restricted from joining certain communities, right? So even today, there are different types of communities that anyone can create. You can create open communities, closed communities, or even paid communities. So maybe open communities that allow men, maybe you can join and maybe you can interact in, but closed communities that women have formed for any intimate discussions or for any intimate topics, maybe those you're not allowed to join. But yes, all ideas are welcome. And so the idea of a platform like this is, it's not to create a divisive world, or it's to, separate out the women and give them a different space. This is the idea is to bring together all women and make sure that this is a place that's empowering each one of us, because the real world is out there, right? The real world is not the only world that you live on social. Your online world is not only your real world, and we need a lot of power and a lot of mental grit to face and succeed in that real world, right? So this is a place that is going to help you have that cutting edge success, be yourself, seek your identity, independence in the real world through a platform like this.
So you mentioned that the potential is obviously immense right now. um, how how are you making sure as a team, as brand Eve World, that you're doing everything in your power to be able to market this platform, so that more and more women come on board and subscribe to this?
The best marketing for a platform like this is through its word of mouth and through the value that women will see in a platform like this, right? This is not a platform that you should ideally be exposed to because you saw an outdoor or because you saw an ad. And while all of those means will definitely be used to reach out, this is a platform that connects hearts, right? That connects one woman to the other, that is built on the pillars of friendship and sisterhood. So, really, a platform like this grows when one woman tells the other or invites the other. A subject matter expert invites those who could seek help from her, knowledge from her, guidance from her, mentorship for her into her community on this platform. When where a platform where peer communities thrive, right? I mean, I am. I'm the mother of a teenage child, and really, what would I love to have a community of other women who also have teenage children. And we are discussing maybe all day or maybe all evening, really, about how are we dealing with situations, what are those new things coming up, what are the new things that we should look out for, how can we make sure that we are now friends with our children, right? Because it's a really different phase in our children's life. This is just peer to peer. And now imagine we have a counselor, right? Like a parenting counselor who's also part of this community, who could guide us through her knowledge and experience. So now, whether it's a community of young mothers, or whether it's a community of teenage moms or single moms, or just a community that is so passionate about beauty, about hygiene, about makeup, about skincare, right? This is communities thrive when more members come into it, right? Members cannot come into a community because they were acquired from some place, right? Members only come into a community when they connect with the purpose of what is happening in that community. And really, I mean, I can give you all the marketing gyan and really all the marketing strategies, but the product market fit for any platform only happens when consumers connect with that platform, right? And this is a platform that all women, I can tell you for sure, will really connect with, right? We are open to feedback, we are open to criticisms, we want to build this together, because remember I said web3 is built on the principles of consensus, community, and continual ownership. So consider this as your own platform and come grow with this platform.
Okay, I know you already said you don't want to give us too much marketing gyan, but I think with the last 30 minutes or so, you've built a strong case for eWorld, and I'm sure anyone listening definitely wants to know, okay, I'm definitely want to be part of this community as some in some form. How do I get on board? So for those listening in, how do they kind of sign up? What are the different things that they need to do?
So before we launch, so we should launch somewhere in the first quarter of 22-23, financial year 22-23. And of course, all of you will know, and I'll request Peter and Nadir to let the community know, let all those fantastic women know that yes, we are live. But until then, any one of you interested, and I would request as many of you to come be a part of the eWorld community creator program, because that is a program that will give you a head start before anyone else to understand what the platform is about, how you can create, engage, nurture your community, what the principles of web3 are, and can make sure that your monetization journey, right, I said your passion converting into a sustainable profession that you make money from, right? That journey can start. So until the platform is live and it's live for all users, the eWorld Community Creator Program is something that everyone who is passionate about any topic, whether she wants to create a peer to peer community or whether she is any subject matter expert, creator, performer, just about anyone, right? If you're an NFT artist, or if you are someone who has knowledge in any of these domains, please reach out to us, because we have to create an empowered community of women, right? So those of us who have that knowledge, have that skill, should contribute it very freely and should help other women, other girls, to really come up to speed with what is happening in the world, so that all of us can kill it together.
That's really encouraging, Aparna, what you are doing and your team is doing with Eve World, and we will be keeping a keen eye on this platform, because we really love seeing new things. Pops in a Pod came up because they saw a gap in the entire parenting content universe, and I'm assuming that is also the logic why Eve World needs to exist in a world like today. So thank you so much for walking us through your journey and helping us understand what Eve World is all about, and hopefully more and more women get empowered and join the platform.
Thank you so much, Peter and Nadir. And you are wonderful hosts, and no wonder why there are so many moms and dads and parents. And I'm sure one day you'll even have, children listening to your podcast, because the children want to know where are their parents getting all that inspiration from? What just happened to my mom and dad? So I'm sure your listenership is going to go through the roof, because both of you are so wonderful. And thank you so much for allowing me to come onto your platform and really talk so passionately about what eWorld is. And thank you so much. And pops always have to be in the journeys of successful mothers, right? So thank you so much for that.
All right, thanks so much. Nadir, Are you excited about the fact that Pops in a Pod may have our own community on Eve World?
Oh, I most definitely am. Considering why she is building Eve World and the kind of opportunities that she is willing to give the women and the whole creator program. I'm very excited to be one of those creatives, or rather, one of the few, men folk on that platform, and do our best and help women in all our capacity.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see when that happens. But until then, you still got us on the Web 2.0. As always, you can reach out to us on our website, popsinapod.in, or drop us an email at popsinapod@gmail.com.
Or you can search for us on Facebook or Instagram, and yeah, follow us, like us. We put up some interesting stuff sometimes, and keep an eye out on our next guest or weekly episode. Until then, hope to see you guys soon next week.
All right, see you then.